Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Live at 5 o'clock, tracking the vaccine for you. Meijer now offering vaccines. You sign up with a text message, plus a ray of hope in Detroit.
All right, Sean, and the wait continues. Governor Whitmer says the ban on indoor dining is going to stay in place, but she promises good news is coming.
But we begin with a historic day at the nation's capital. Exactly 1 week after a mob stormed the building, the House of Representatives has voted to impeach President Trump. He becomes the first president in American history to face impeachment twice.
The ayes are 232. The nays are 197. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
And that result, announced just a short time ago, included 10 Republicans, including some from right here in Michigan, voting to impeach.
And right before the vote, President Trump issued a strongly worded statement calling for peace. And here it is, quote, "In light of reports of more demonstrations, I urge that there must be no violence, no law breaking, and no vandalism of any kind. That is not what I stand for, and it is not what America stands for. I call on all Americans to help ease tensions and calm tempers." End of quote. Let's get to Alice Barr following the latest from Washington. Alice.
Good evening. This impeachment vote comes at an extraordinary moment, exactly 1 week after the deadly attack on the Capitol and 1 week before President-elect Joe Biden takes office. At the U.S. Capitol today, an unparalleled moment in American history. Donald J. Trump becoming the first president to be impeached twice.
He must go. He is a clear and present danger to the nation that we all love.
The constitutional clash coming exactly 1 week after the president fired up supporters who morphed into a mob and violently attacked the halls of Congress.
We are debating this historic measure at an actual crime scene. And we wouldn't be here if it weren't for the President of the United States.
House Democrats entered this day knowing they had the votes to pass a single article of impeachment, accusing President Trump of, quote, inciting violence against the government of the United States.
His role in the inciting of the last week's violence posed an existential threat to our constitutional democracy.
Many Republicans still standing in lockstep, accusing Democrats of rushing the constitutional process.
It's always been about getting the president, no matter what.
Others opposing impeachment, but chastising President Trump.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters.
But unlike the last impeachment, a few GOP lawmakers breaking ranks to vote against the president.
There was a domestic threat at the door of the Capitol, and he did nothing to stop it.
With only a week left in office, President Trump's legacy now bears another black mark. While a Senate trial is highly unlikely before President Trump leaves the White House, Democrats are hoping to prevent him from ever holding public office again. In Washington, Alice Barr, Local 4.
All right, Alice, and now we want to take a look at how Michigan's 14 members of the House are voting on impeachment.
Let's bring in our Grant Herms, who joins us live. 7 Democrats and 7 Republicans in the state, and some moved across party lines today, Grant.
They sure did, Devin. All the Democrats voted party line, but they were joined by veteran Republican Representative Fred Upton, and then late this afternoon, freshman Peter Meijer from the Republican Party crossed the aisle and voted to impeach.
Michigan's members of Congress voting today to impeach the president for a second time. Each Democrat voting for impeachment, joined by Republicans Fred Upton and Peter Meijer. In interviews and on the floor, representatives explaining their votes.
The president chose to do nothing. And that, to me, is the greatest breach of the oath that he took to uphold our Constitution, and is why, in just 1 week left, why he must be impeached and held accountable for those actions.
If inciting an insurrection does not warrant impeachment, nothing does.
It was a grotesque orgy of deadly white supremacism, anti-Semitism, and strongman rule. Today, we will do our duty and vote to remove the author of this horrifying chapter and banish him from public service.
Among Michigan's members who voted no, freshman Lisa McClain saying in a statement, impeachment is a backwards-looking tactic when we are all wanting to move our nation forward. I will not be supporting this divisive measure at a time when our country needs to heal. Some Democrats also mentioned healing, but said a vote for impeachment would be just that.
We in this country cannot begin healing in unity without accountability and justice. The President of the United States incited a violent insurrection against Congress, you, me, and the Vice President of the United States. This cannot be ignored. Impeach now.
Now, the next step here is a trial in the Senate. Both of Michigan's Democratic senators have said they'd like to see the president removed and have backed impeachment. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll hear from Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence about her emotional return to the Capitol today. Back to you.
You got it. All right, Grant. We will continue to follow reaction to what happened on Capitol Hill today. Let's move now to coronavirus. And as expected, Governor Whitmer announcing the emergency order keeping indoor dining shut down will be extended through the end of January.
But the governor did say that if numbers continue their current trend, indoor dining will be back next month. Victor Williams following today's announcement and getting reaction from restaurant owners. Victor.
Yes, Karen, some of these owners, as you can imagine, are not too happy with this extension, and they're not alone. Some of the same feelings are felt and shared by some of the lawmakers here in our state.
I try to remain optimistic, but it's hard to.
Nicola's barbecue manager, Velko Milisevich, looks on in disappointment as it's announced by Governor Whitmer that the ban on indoor dining will remain intact until February 1st.
We opened up the dining room here for a while, and it only seems like it's getting prolonged and pushed, and it seems like the restaurants are the ones that are getting singled out.
Similar mindset from Spag Burger owner John Spag.
I think our doors need to be open. It's going to cripple us. But I pray to God that this gets to be the end of it. When the pandemic hit, they shut us down, which was in Thanksgiving. It's been, we're just hanging on.
Both restaurants have been able to stay afloat because of carry-out orders, but other establishments haven't been as lucky. Lawmakers, however, are saying enough is enough and that it's time to reopen. Michigan Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey speaking on the issue Wednesday morning.
To me, it's just a continuation of the tone deafness of this governor. The absurdity of saying, well, it's safe to open up restaurants now, but you can't do it until February 1st. A conclusion of open when you're ready would have made far more sense. And the fact of the matter is that there was never any causation associated with restaurants and the spread of COVID leaves open the door for the governor to do the same thing again, should she choose to.
And Shirkey is not the only lawmaker displeased with the governor's decision. The list goes on and on. But if there was anything positive to come out of the announcement today made by the governor, it would be that group fitness is going to be able to resume. Victor Williams, Local 4.
All right, Victor, more on Shirkey in just a minute. But first, further comments from Governor Whitmer about her decisions regarding Michigan restaurants.
We know that places where people are mixing households, taking off their masks and dining inside, it's inherently where we see spread. Study after study after study has shown that. It's not their fault that the activity in which they engage is inherently more risky. It's the nature of this virus. And we are mindful of how hard it is, and that's why we've worked so hard to get assistance to ensure that they've got the ability to do takeout, that they have the ability to do outdoor dining. I know it's cold, but I have seen Michiganders in snowsuits outside at their favorite restaurant. We have done a number of things to help try to get them through this tough time.
And you heard Michigan Senate Majority Leader Shirkey taking issue with that logic earlier. He now speaks from a different point of reference because we've learned that he has recovered from a bout with coronavirus. Shirkey believes he was exposed to the virus around December 19th, tested positive December 23rd. A spokesperson says Shirkey has not been in Lansing since December 21st, when he was present on the House floor, though while wearing a mask. We're told Shirkey quarantined and recovered at home. Now, let's turn to today's coronavirus numbers. The state reporting 2,694 new cases over the past 24 hours. That's a jump of 700 more cases than yesterday's total. State also reporting 32 more deaths to COVID-19 over the past day. From new cases, let's turn to tracking the vaccine rollout across the state.
As of today, 831,000 doses have been delivered to Michigan. That means no new deliveries in the past 24 hours. 332,000 shots have gone into arms. And today, a major step in the city of Detroit as residents 75 and older lined up to get their first shot of the vaccine.
As we've reported, the health department was flooded with calls over the past few days with people very eager to get it. Sean Lay following the rollout. But first, Sean, you got news about some new vaccination sites.
Absolutely. Devin, Karen, good evening to you. We're tracking this vaccine from here in Rochester all the way down to Detroit. You're mentioning a new player in this, Meijer, now partnering with the state to provide vaccines, 65 years of age and older. That's who they're starting with. They begin January 18th. You sign up and register via text, the number 75049. You text that number, 75049. You will be able to register. We'll put that on our website. Click on Detroit.com. They'll start in Wayne County at Meijer locations first. Let's go to Detroit, a ray of hope now there in this pandemic.
Once inside, how'd it go?
Once inside, it went really smooth.
Maida Chapman is 77. You can feel the relief in her voice to get that first COVID-19 vaccine dose from the city of Detroit today. A city that was a COVID hotspot, a city that lost more than 1,700 people to this virus, 27,000 others testing positive. The virus taking and touching so many lives across Detroit. Miss Chapman says now is this city's moment to move forward.
I think that the seniors, especially in Detroit, should step forward and take the shot. It's better to get the shot than to get sick and end up in the hospital. It didn't hurt. I didn't have a reaction.
Shots inside the TCF Center garage are by appointment only. Response has been overwhelming. The city says jammed phone lines to make an appointment are improving. 400 Detroiters vaccinated today. That's just the start. So much is riding on this drive-through system.
This is the first step to getting our lives back. And all the folks that I talked to over there are going to go tell their friends and neighbors how smooth this went.
Robert France is 56. He's an essential worker, a special education teacher with Detroit schools. He was in and then out in 25 minutes. He hopes to be in school soon.
It was very well organized, so I would recommend that everyone just come on down and get it done.
Detroit laser focused on that age group, 75 and older. Of the 1,700 grandparents that we lost in the city of Detroit, 1/3 were in that age group. Guys, coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll take a close look at this vaccine center run by Oakland County Health Department here in Rochester. That's at 6.
All right, Sean, we will see you then, but we've got much more ahead here at 5. Let's check in with Ben.
Devin and Karen, we'll see your Saturday and raise you a Wednesday. We beat our weekend temperatures for the warmest of the year. Let's see if we can do it again tomorrow.
All right, Ben, and my Defender Special Report. New environmental concerns in the city of Flint as a chemical company stands accused of dumping millions of gallons of waste into the city's sewer system. Rod.
They are decidedly security conscious here in Lansing.
Guns are still welcome in our capital now, as long as we don't see them.
And they're getting ready to build a 6-foot fence around the Capitol building. We'll hear about where all of this is headed and the controversy surrounding it.